It runs on Windows, you have to switch it on. Okay, so habit forms tradition. Tradition is me wearing green pants at the SUSE booth when I do the presentations. Today I'm going to show you something, how we turn user behavior into IT insights, something that helps you run your IT like you would run a business, okay? Let me really quickly tell you who we are. Datavard can be summarized very briefly as the data guys, helping you to generate more value out of the data that you already got. We're based out of Heidelberg, Germany, but international business right now. Actually, that's why I don't sound like German. We're rough cut 200 employees right now. Highly innovative, highly awarded business, locally as well as globally. One of the key questions that's driving the portfolio of Datavard is how much value do you get out of your data and how much cost do you get out of your data? Now, you know how to do this. You get that for free, but it costs you a lot of money. Now, how do you measure value of data? This is one of the key questions in the 21st century, and we believe there is a couple of highly scientific answers to that. Actually, there is around 250 PhD theses on how to measure and determine the value of data. We came up with the 251st version, which is if your users demand for the data more frequently, it is more valuable to your business. Full stop. Yes, there is legal things in there, but this is, very simply speaking, what we want to do. Okay? So very much like you would do analytics for your business, how to run your warehouse, how to run your operations. We want to give you analytics for how to run IT. And the essence of all of this is three things. I'll come back to that later. The essence of this is we wanted to build a tool that works like you could look over the shoulder of 5,000 users in real time and see what they are doing. The three areas we focus on is data, users, and the performance of the system. Because we believe these are the three most essential ingredients to what you want to analyze as being responsible for IT operations. Now, at the crossroads of data and user behavior, you would find, of course, data access. It's very important intelligence coming out of that. What are the users actually looking for in terms of time slice, in terms of org unit, in terms of granularity of the data that you want to look for? User experience is at the crossroad of what users are doing and how the system performs. This is where most of the progress in the 21st century has been made so far. Our expectation towards speed of a transaction is as high or as low as it was never before. Mr. Jobs, God bless his soul, created a huge issue for us, because he changed the way users want to interact with a system. He changed the perception that users have when working with a business transaction or a private transaction. 80% research suggests of the experience a user has is impacted by performance. 20% is by how many clicks you need to do to achieve what you want to do. So you want to have a close eye on how users perceive your system. If transactions don't respond within 7 seconds, 80% of the users would log off and shut down the session because they wouldn't know whether the system is down or the system is just slow. Most users in daily life wouldn't make the difference. So response times is an essential ingredient. Three most important use cases we derive out of this intelligence is A, data management. If I know what data is important to the users, I know what to do with the data. Every one of you here has some way, shape or form of roadmap that leads you to SAP HANA, right? One thing you will get with HANA for free is that the cost of hardware, the cost of storing data will change by a factor of somewhere between 10 and 52. Okay? So it's even more important you understand what is the value of the data. So you can push out low and less value data to other storage types, such as Apache Hadoop, etc., etc. Application monitoring, very essential. Your stack will diversify significantly. You would not only have one R3 system like in the good old times, you would have multiple systems for one use case. And you want to make sure that both the experience the users are having, which is largely impacted by response times, is top-notch. Most of you would have either a requirement for a service level agreement with your IT, or if you sit in IT, which if you're at the SUSE booth, chances pretty high, you have a service level that is expected from you, right? So you want to proactively monitor that. For example, what I said, these 7 seconds is exactly what your users are experiencing. Every step in a transaction, every step in a reporting takes 7 seconds or less. Our dear customer Nestle calls this the perfect experience. If every step in a BI experience takes less than 7 seconds, this is what they see as perfect experience. And they get proactive alerting if this doesn't work. So they can fix the root cause and make sure you get perfect, or your users get perfect experience. This is how the tool looks like. So we're making use of things that are like common standard right now. We basically build an analytics tool, an application that helps you keep an eye on everything that you care about. Data, your system, its performance, and what users are doing in the system. There's about 75 pre-built reports in this tool, and you have about more than 300 technical indicators to come along with you, as well as a software development kit, so you can fine-tune this to your organization, to your landscape, and you leverage the power of what analytics can do today. This goes in the direction of forecasting. So we have predictive functionality in terms of predicting system growth, predicting capacity, predicting user behavior, as well as deploying statistical methods that you have integrated into SAP HANA right now to make sure that you report on your IT like if it was a business. Right? People say data is the new oil, right? I'm telling you, we're the worst refiners on the planet. Right? Because we don't manage data like we would manage a business. If data was revenues, you would build loads of reports on that. You would want to be up to date on what's going on with your data, what's going on with your systems. Right now, we're not there. This is a very good starting point, and I'm quite sure we will come up jointly with you with a couple of 100 questions that we haven't thought of so far. Now I'm switching back. How am I doing on timing, Ross?
Really good.
I'm really good? Okay, I love that. This thing was piloted with a company called Randstad. They're one of the world leaders in HR services. They found that there is a lot of questions when running SAP, and they couldn't find an answer to these questions. First and foremost, where is data growth coming from? How can they classify and categorize data in terms of important, unimportant, need to protect, no need to protect, cheap, expensive, etc. When they talked to the business, this gave them little insights because the responses were highly subjective and highly biased, right? So the answers they got, like, is this application actually still used? Is it still used as we thought it would be used? We have customers, we found applications, they are no longer in use for 7 years. Still data is being loaded into them. Why? Because it's set up. It's automatic. Most of the requirements users have, especially in the analytics world, are very temporary. So user behavior will shift and they won't call you up to tell you. You want to know that the minute it happens, / the week it happens. You ask the business what data is important, you know the answer. Everything. Don't you dare touch my data. Right? Fact of life is this is not true. There is a data iceberg. 95% of the data in your system, actually 93% of the data in your system is not used at all. Right? Depending on what your business is and what you're doing, about 7% of the data in your system is what people work with. If you look at your storage bill, you pay 100. We want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. So I'm switching back and forth a little bit. Bear with me. So here's what we did. BASF, largest chemical company on the planet, I think so. At least that's what they told us. They shrank their database by 8 terabytes. Just by finding out what data is in use, what data is not in use anymore. Heidelberg Cement, one of the largest cement producers on this planet, they shrank their database by 15 terabytes. This was 70%, Dirk, right? 70% of their database was not used at all, and nobody knew. Kion, they make forklifts. Same thing, their SAP BW, we shrank that by 35%. Just finding out what data is in use, what data is not being used. A major German bank, we did performance tuning of their 100 top reports. 100 reports people call every single day. We save them about 950 hours of working time every day. So this is 950 hours of time. People don't have to wait anymore for the right answers because we know what's most important to them and they don't have to wait anymore. Data load, huge issue. Data is getting bigger. Data ingestion takes ages. We're able to improve that a lot. Same thing here. If you know what kind of data is important, if you know what important answers people expect from your system, if you know the important questions people ask to your system, you will know how to optimize data load in sync with how people do report on data, in sync with how people ask the questions, because they don't ask the same question every single minute, right? There is seasonalities in these questions as well. There wasn't a seasonality in the data load. In terms of regression testing, same thing. You know, most of the people we meet do regression testing as if they wouldn't know what is important to the system. Now, if you know the most important features and functions, the most important reports in your system, why don't you use that intelligence to automate regression testing? It's a very simple thing, leveraging this intelligence to know what are the 500 most important reports, what are the 500 most important business functions that are being executed in your system. This actually saves about 320 hours per service pack, just identifying what is the scope that needs to be tested. It's huge. It's not the test automation, it's just identifying the scope of testing. And together with HPE, I'm not quite sure whether that's DXC now or still HPE, but let's say some form of HPE company, previously called HPE, we were able to automate about 300 plus test cases completely, just because the system tells you how it's being used. You would know what the top selections would be, you would know what the top reports would be. It all comes as intelligence out of the system if you ask the right question. Speaking of which, do you guys have questions?